person posted, New Hampshire has a race problem and it needs to change. Wow, it makes me think of that article like a decade ago where they said New Hampshire's too white and we need to fix it. Welcome blacks and other minorities. I don't remember seeing a sign like on the welcome bienvenue to New Hampshire. So I don't remember it saying asterisk, but no blacks and minorities. I don't remember it saying that. I feel like it doesn't exclude people based on race. Let's be honest here. So this person, this retard posted, I have lived in New Hampshire for 3 years, and this is the only place where I have lived and felt excluded and targeted because of my race. You should go to Nashua. It's very brown now. I came here to attend law school, and I made genuine efforts to integrate into the community by networking and being open. So they came here to attend law school. That's an interesting choice. I have experienced repeated incidents that have made me feel unsafe and unwelcome. I bet they're talking about fucking microaggressions, buddy. At a food pantry, I was cut in front of in line and called the N-word. First of all, that didn't happen. Second of all, how are you going to law school and also going to a food pantry at the same time? I'm sensing somewhat of a scam here, actually. Sensing either this entire post is completely made the fuck up, or you've come here to suckle on the teat of state welfare benefits. In which case, you can leave, actually. I have been treated with suspicion, spoken to disrespectfully, or even threatened with security involvement for no legitimate reason. Yeah, I'm gonna press X to fucking doubt on that one, bro. I'm gonna press X to doubt on that one. And I can't show this video, chat. There's a video in the replies that's very funny.
Cousin Muhammad, he's claiming asylum. Landed in Portland, straight off the tarmac. Uncle Sam said, welcome, here's a free BT card. I said, Alhamdulillah. Got Section 8, got Medicaid, got the whole buffet. 10 kids already, number 11 on the way. Teacher asked, what's 2 + 2? My son said, that's racist, Pastor Manny.
True!
10 wives, 50 kids, I are. Free house, free food, free ride, no cap. We turned Lewiston into little Baghdad facts. Man used to be white, now it's falafel and hijab. Don't you dare drop Prophet Muhammad, Abu Allah Akbar, yalla Allahu, I'm Muhammad. Middle name Muhammad, last name Muhammad. My sister married Muhammad, cousin's name is Muhammad.
#1 baby name in the UK! Let's go!
Vote for me, my name is Muhammad. My name is Muhammad. Ran for city council, won by 20,000 votes. Every newborn gets a mail-in thanks to Shanna. They said you can't have 4 wives. We sell your girls heroin and crack. We'll build a mega mosque where Ella Bean used to be. Governor said diversity is our strength. I said I agree, childless Habibi, this our land. Abu Allah, Akbar Allah. 10 wives, 50 kids, like free house, free food, free ride, no cap. We turned Lewiston into little Baghdad facts.
Fucking Habibi.
Me used to be white, now it's falafel and hijab. Don't you dare drop
The song goes fucking hard for like absolutely no reason at all, dude.
Middle name Mohammed, last name Mohammed. My sister married Mohammed. Cousin's name is Mohammed. Don't you dare draw Mohammed. Diversity is your strength. We'll watch you sing. Vote for me, my name is Mohammed. Excuse me, sir, this is a Wendy's. No problem. Inshallah, it will be a halal Wendy's by Friday. Allah Akbar. We get rid of the small hats for you. By 2040, the governor rocking a full beard and Toby. Pine Tree State, nah, Islamic State now. Shout out to the taxpayers. Jazakallah, wow. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Council seat. Man is ours now, go back to sleep.
So I was like, damn, that goes fucking hard for absolutely no reason. No reason at all. Holy shit. I have no idea where you can find this elsewhere, so I'm just gonna link this post because I saw some people asking for the video. So that fucking slapped. Imagine. Informative song that doesn't bore you. You're so angry now. Get angry. Get involved, brother man. Get involved in your local politics. New Hampshire House Legislative Administration Committee votes 10-2 to recommend censure for two-term state rep Travis Cochran where for social media post critical of House Democratic colleagues. As a reminder, he said, I'm paraphrasing because I remember the exact quote, but he said we need a final solution to like the theater kids and politics problem. Oh no? Anyway, what's the record for number of times censored? Is anything in the world a better example of government than having hearings and votes and spending taxpayer dollars to do absolutely nothing? This has no tangible effect, correct? Yes. Censure by the New Hampshire House is purely symbolic. A formal public rebuke with no tangible consequences. No removal from office, no loss of pay, vote, or committee seats. The full House still has to approve it, but it changes nothing about his ability to serve. So, the Democrats just went on a taxpayer dime expended, spree to just denounce this guy making a joke about theater kids. Because the lady he made the joke towards was like, actually, I'm Jewish, how dare you? And it's just like, well, I would have used a different joke if that was the case. How am I supposed to know who's a Jew when I make a joke? Let's be honest. Oh my God, if you want to support him in his politics, he's got a Substack and a Patreon and stuff here. I think more politicians need to be like Travis, man. Does this mean you're not invited to karaoke anymore? During the hearing, the crying dude was my favorite, but he needs to work on delivering his lines more naturally and holding the biggest sobs to emphasize salient points in his speech. That's fucking funny. I didn't know it was like live streamed or whatever, but if someone was actually crying during this censoring fucking fiasco, what the fuck? Like, I know we watched that one video clip of Travis talking at it, but what the fuck? Travis made a legislator cry and didn't notice. I need to see the crying man, dude. What the fuck? And Travis originally stating, you can give the middle finger to the governor with no repercussions, but if you go against the theater kid caucus, you have truly touched the third rail of New Hampshire politics. That's true. You could flip off the governor with no repercussion, but don't insult the theater kids. One of them might be Jewish. Please not that shit again. And there was another post. I receive an email from a leftist in Durham. I respond, Dear members of the Legislative Administration Committee, my name is Heidi Yanulis. My husband John and I moved to New Hampshire in 2021 after spending 2 decades working overseas. My husband is a New Hampshire native, Manchester born and bred, proud graduate of the University of New Hampshire. Go Wildcats. She's putting in way too much effort to prove that they're from here, which makes me very much doubt her claims. We chose to relocate to New Hampshire because of its natural beauty, incredible topographical diversity, mountains, ocean, proximity to Boston, and gentrifying population. This is not my grandfather's New Hampshire, he would say. I thought gentrifying was bad. What did she mean by this? She says gentrifying population and then also says this is not my grandfather's New Hampshire. Her grandfather's New Hampshire would have been 100% white. So obviously that's what she's talking about. It's no longer 100% white. But gentrifying is usually attributed to white people making a neighborhood more nice and how that's bad. So I don't know what she means by this. New Hampshire has been steadily moving beyond its reputation as a nearly all-white, homogenous, racist policy to become a more welcoming, culturally rich, and diverse destination for people like ourselves to adopt as home. I don't know what the fuck this woman is talking. New Hampshire is literally the whitest state in the union. I think literally only rivaled in current year by like Montana. Like, that's why I made that joke the other day when we had that fucking scam center that Kelly Ayotte took a picture with. I was like, how did she find every brown person living in the state? When I came across the bigoted statement Representative Travis Corcoran made, friendly reminder, Travis is a House representative in New Hampshire. We need more politicians like Travis. And posted publicly on social media in response to Rep. Jessica Grill's bipartisan effort to bridge divides and bring New Hampshire legislators together socially. I was disgusted and counted as a major setback in our personal efforts to promote New Hampshire, living here, visiting here, to others. Rep. Cochran's New Hampshire, one in which white men never face consequences for their behavior. I have a feeling a lot of us would be Would be definitely for the death penalty for criminals who have egregious behavior. Speech that you don't like is not egregious behavior. Rep. Cochran's New Hampshire, one in which white men never face consequences for their behavior, is not one I want to live in or see take center stage as the face of our great state ever again. Well then, you have the freedom to get the fuck out. Cause we're not doing racist policy here, brother man. This man knows better. As a graduate of one of our nation's top universities, Cornell, Rep. Cochran cannot feign ignorance as to what the term final solution means, or how denigrating creatives as less than, as his theater kid comment implies, hurts children. What the fuck is she even talking about? What the fuck is even happening? She's like throwing out all of the traditional buzzword shit to try and get him more repercussions from the other legislators. What a duplicitous bitch. Yet, when the very real impacts of his vile statement were raised to him, he refused to accept responsibility and instead employed the manipulative Darvo strategy: deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. He became the one who had been harmed. He chose to double down, not self-reflect. A person who refuses to take responsibility for their actions should not have access to the levers of power in our state. You know, after I served Vice with that cease and desist, a lot of the people who were screeching about Kirsche bad also did the same. We just want her to have accountability and take responsibility for her egregious statements. What egregious statements? The ones you made up in your fucking head, brother man? Holy shit. New Hampshire must not condone Rep. Corcoran's ugly and hateful brand of politics. This man's actions must be condemned in the harshest terms possible. Send the right and moral message to the people of our state and our nation that New Hampshire does not tolerate bigotry of any kind. On May 6th, vote to recommend Rep. Corcoran's expulsion from our legislative body. I'm going to go ahead and assume that didn't happen. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that she was rightfully ignored. And Rep. Cochran responded, obviously. He said, Heidi, thanks for your letter. First, let me respond to your explicit and unacceptable racist attacks against heritage Americans, where you attack New Hampshire as being nearly all white, homogenous, in brackets, all terrible things from context. New Hampshire leads the nation in safety, education, wealth, and dozens of other metrics, precisely because it is nearly all white and homogenous. It is well documented that whites, including Ashkenazis and Asians, have the lowest rates of crime, the highest saving rates, and the highest intelligence. This man's getting fucking spicy, brother. It is also well documented that cultural homogeny causes high social trust, engagement, and involvement. Even the New York Times has been forced to admit that. And he posted a New York Times article from 2007 about diversity. You contrast this baseline of Granite State excellence with your desired transformation. You wish to remake the state to become a more welcoming, culturally rich, and diverse destination for people like ourselves to adopt as home. Your plan, if enacted, would result in increased poverty, increased unemployment, increased public benefits usage, increased property crime, increased murder, and increased rape. But of course, you don't bother to learn these irrefutable statistics, nor do you care at all for the tragedy that you wish to inflict on those of us who already live here. A few hundred or thousand extra rapes of other people are just the broken eggs that must be accepted to create the utopian omelet of your own virtue-signaling policies. It's just part and parcel of living in a large city. The increased rape, the increased murder, it's just normal life now. That's the stance of the leftist elites in Germany, the UK, and Sweden. And it's the stance of the leftist elites here in the US. Your comment. And he quotes, when I came across the bigoted statement Representative Travis Corcoran made and posted publicly on social media in response to Rep. Jessica Grill's bipartisan effort to bridge divides and bring New Hampshire legislators together socially, I was disgusted and counted as a major setback in our personal efforts to promote New Hampshire, living here and visiting here. And Corcoran responded, my response is, excellent! Those of us who live in New Hampshire and want to keep it the way it is, instead of using it as a blank slate for an arrogant and apocalyptic social engineering experiment, want to make New Hampshire inhospitable to people like you and other members of your tribe. New Hampshire doesn't want people like you and your fellow travelers to come here and reform us. That's true. Leftists, get the fuck out. I'm on board with this inhospitality kind of nonsense. So thank you for your feedback. Now that I know my plan to use rhetoric to drive away undesirable progressives is working, I will redouble my efforts. Regarding your comment, Rep. Corcoran cannot feign ignorance as to how denigrating creatives as less than, as his theater kid comment implies, hurts children. He responded, I should point out that having majored in the liberal arts, having published a half-dozen novels, having won awards for my writing, and being a patron of the arts, buying original paintings and sculptures, I am not remotely denigrating creatives. My comments were intended to denigrate emotional, non-analytical, performative outrage. If you want to understand the context of the phrase, I once again refer to the paper of record. As far as your claim that my speech hurts children, allow me to give that allegation the respectful response it deserves. And in all caps, he typed, LOL, Lamau. I like how he's treating this fucking freak of a woman the same way I treated Vice. Academics, please respond. He says, first, the very real impacts were never raised with me. There was a lot of hysterical screeching, of which your email constitutes one small part, but not a single example of data. This is a perfect example of the quote-unquote theater kid behavior that I was and am criticizing. You can't just say, I'm outraged! Outraged! He violated a taboo that exists in my mind! And expect other people to take you seriously. This is not adult argumentation. It is drama, and it must be purged from our discourse. Additionally, why should I care about your taboos? Surely we're a multicultural society, and I'm allowed to have my own taboos instead of respecting yours, no? Isn't that what multiculturalism is really about? True diversity of values, not just superficial diversity of food trucks and musical styles. Second, regarding Darvo, of course I quote-unquote reverse victim and offender. I do not accept your framing of who the victims and offenders are. Your entire stance here is that anyone who feels that they are falsely maligned must accept the premise, or, by refusing to do so, prove the charge. This is a Kafka trap. The kind of thing that authoritarian leftists like the government of the Soviet Union and modern progressives in the US love to use to indict their culture war enemies. And that is a very true fucking statement. This is following the exact same logic of, like, they don't call you a Nazi because you are one. They call you that because it makes you an acceptable target for violence. You are now persona non grata. You are now free to do anything too. You can lose your job, you can lose your house, you can lose your kids and your wife, and they will celebrate it every step of the fucking way. And he continues, by the way, I urge you in the strongest possible terms to push back on my assertions here. Because if and when you do, I will accuse you of Darvo, and you should accept my allegations with graceful humility, repent of your sins, and pledge to do better in the future. And I will further accuse you of failure to engage in self-reflection. I am right and you are wrong, you see, and if you don't agree with me, that's just according to your own method of argumentation, a failure of maturity. Absolutely anally blasted. Like 100% Sam Hyde quote evergreen, always is. Stop, she's already dead. Yeah, that's a counterspell. That is a counterspell. The amount of Kafka traps that are used where, like, they accuse you of something with flimsy or out of context or completely fabricated evidence, and then you now have to defend yourself from these crazy allegations. Otherwise, sponsors drop you, your job fires you, you have all these repercussions because they have, like, this magic spell that's been working for them to delete their political others for years now. It's funny to watch, but it stops nothing. She won't stop and her spell doesn't lose power. Everyone knows the spell is bullshit, but they accept it because they want to use the same bludgeoning tool. Which is why we have to find a way to collectively be like, we're not going to play with your magic spells anymore. And this is also why I keep hammering on the fact that people in positions of power need to stop caring about optics. More politicians need to be like Travis. More politicians need to be like fucking Jeremy. They need to say things how they are, have facts to back up what they're saying, and just completely deny these absolute freaks the ability to frame the situation to their positivity. She responded by once again emailing all of the other representatives and saying, "Dear members of the Legislative Administration Committee, I would like to share with you the response I received from Reprehensible Travis Cochran, who chose to not reply to all. I think he makes my point. Please enter this email into the committee record. Heidi Yanulis." He's mean. My spells didn't work at shaming him. Please help. Representatives, please respond. And then someone said, "Good grief, a conversation I hope I'm never a part of." And he shows like I don't know if this is the X profile or like a LinkedIn profile. I don't know. The profile of the Heidi Yanulis lady. Her tag is even living large in New Hampshire. Oh gosh, she's here. She's here for all the wrong reasons. Former NGO photographer, digital media guru, currently with hashtag management science for health, posting about global health. Get the fuck out of here, lady. Get the fuck out. Fucking quangos! Dirty, disgusting quangos, brother. And his response to her response of crying to the other reps was, "Lol. Lamau." She looks like the genetically engineered perfect example of a Karen. If you told me this was a profile created by AI to be like a comedic parody account of all of the shit cunt progressive women, I would have believed you. Cause that's what it looks like, brother. That's a lot to put into the record. We're just gonna paraphrase it as Yanulis blown the fuck out. Oh my god. The Virginia Supreme Court has overturned the Democrat gerrymandering referendum, ruling that the process to put in on the ballot was unconstitutional. Virginia will keep their 5 Republican districts. On March 6, 2026, the General Assembly of Virginia submitted to Virginia voters a proposed constitutional amendment that authorizes partisan gerrymandering of congressional districts in the Commonwealth. We hold that the legislative process employed to advance this proposal violated Article 12, Section 1 of the Constitution of Virginia. This constitutional violation incurably taints the resulting referendum vote and nullifies its legal efficacy. That's fucking crazy. Congratulations, Virginia. You have stymied the full throttle destruction temporarily. At least the court did something good for Virginia. Yeah, nullify that taint, man. Democrats spent north of $80 million on the Virginia referendum. Almost half of it came from Hakeem Jeffries' personal 401c4 House Majority Forward. Luis Lucas, Don Scott, and Abigail Spanberger exerted so much of their political capital to get it passed. All to be stuffed into a locker by Scova for the blatantly unconstitutional way they got it on the ballot. That's pretty fucking crazy. Rep. Pramila Jayapal, Democrat Washington, announces she has been working with foreign countries to supply oil to Cuba in defiance of President Trump. She says Trump's economic sanctions against the communist regime are equivalent to illegally bombing the nation's infrastructure. How come this woman isn't immediately removed from her seat for being a traitorous piece of shit? Can we ask that question?
In January, Trump issued an executive order threatening tariffs on any country supplying fuel to Cuba. This was this January, just a few months ago. And oil shipments from Venezuela, that's where Cuba had been getting its oil, were halted after the U.S. operations to kidnap Nicolas Maduro. Since January, only one Russian tanker of oil has made it to Cuba. In fact, it landed just a couple of days before I landed. And one tanker has enough oil basically for 10 to 14 days of Cuba's oil needs. So it's a very limited amount of time. Now, Russia has said they're going to send another tanker. I was in conversations with the ambassadors from Mexico and some other places, and I know other countries in Latin America are trying to figure out how to get oil there. But it is a crisis beyond imagination. Just this past Friday, on May 1st, Trump signed a broad executive order that widens sanctions and allows for new penalties, similar to what we have for Iran and Russia, against foreign banks and firms that are dealing with Cuba. And it also reinforces the ban on U.S. tourism.
We really need to understand where we are. Politicians on supposedly the right side need to understand where the fuck we are. If you are not actively trying to remove communists from political power, you have no idea what's going on, and you do not belong in your political seat either. Get primaried, you filthy fucking rhino.
I have called these sanctions an economic bombing of the infrastructure of Cuba. It is illegal. It is against the war. We've been talking about this in Iran, obviously, to bomb the infrastructure of any country. That is against international law. This is essentially doing the same thing. It is bombing the infrastructure of Cuba with economic sanctions that essentially ensure that the infrastructure collapses.
Absolutely despicable behavior. There is zero reason she should still be in any position of power. She needs to be removed. Suffer not the communists. She's lying. It only applies when the military doesn't use it. Man, international law, who cares? Not our country, not our problem. Do these people not want us to also be world police? We cannot sanction communists. Wah. Pedantic wordplay does not a legal argument make. True. Sergeant Buck, thank you. We didn't kidnap Maduro. We borrowed him without permission. He's our dictator now, comrade. Thank God she's talking to both Russia and to Cuba. She's a communist, right? What happened to all those years about screaming about Russian collusion and then she just goes ahead and does it? Come the fuck on. How is she not impeached already? Because we are no longer a serious country. We have been too long captured by communist people, and the people on the right will do absolutely nothing to fucking fix it. It's infuriating. It is so infuriating. Democrat representative admits to working with Mexico to sneak oil into Cuba despite blockade. She also said Russia, article writers. A Democratic lawmaker is drawing backlash after saying she spoke with foreign ambassadors about getting oil to Cuba despite the U.S. sanctions, defending the outreach as literally our right and responsibility. No! Our right and responsibility is to our country and our countrymen, you foreign subversive. Rep. Pramila Jayapal, Democrat Washington, made the remarks during a recent Seattle briefing following a congressional delegation trip to Cuba, where she discussed the island's worsening fuel shortages and U.S. policy toward the communist regime. I was in conversations with the ambassadors from Mexico and some other places, trying to figure out how to get oil there. Jayapal said during the briefing, calling the situation on the island a crisis beyond imagination. Yes! The people of Cuba are subjected to horrific behavior from the communist government! We are not going to give more resources to the communist government so that they may hoard it and continue treating their population like shit. If there's one thing we can do, it's put more sanctions on them for being disgusting communists. Jayapal said the event was part of a broader briefing on the humanitarian situation in Cuba following her recent visit. As many of you know, I traveled to Cuba as part of the congressional delegation last month. Unless it is to literally remove the communists from power somehow, I don't think pro-commie sympathizers should be having congressional delegation travel to Cuba. At very least a violation of the Logan Act, remove her. It is part of my role to see how U.S. foreign policy is actually affecting the people in the countries where that policy is being implemented. This dumb bitch cares more about the repercussions for the communist government than she does all of the treatment the communist government delivers upon the people who live there. We are not the same. Democrats are committing sedition, not treason. Let's get it right. Send them away for an extra 10 years. I like that guy. She said she met with Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, senior government officials, political dissidents, civil society groups, and foreign diplomats during the trip. Imagine going to talk to a bunch of Nazis and saying you talked to political dissidents. That is basically what's happening here. She's like, yeah, I went to talk with commies, just political dissidents, you know? Video of the remarks circulated widely on X, where users criticized the progressive lawmaker's comments and raised legal concerns. Conservative accounts amplified the clip, including End Wokeness, which claimed she was conspiring against the U.S. and suggested her actions could constitute a federal felony. Libs of TikTok wrote that her actions seem a little like treason to me. Social media users also pointed to the potential legal implications. Traitor, she should be prosecuted, wrote The Charlie Kirk Show executive producer Andrew Colvett on X. These claims are political commentary and have not been independently verified, with no investigation or charges being publicly announced. They should be. The fucking End Wokeness even added the Logan Act under here. Any citizen of the United States, wherever he may be, who, without authority of the United States, directly or indirectly commences or carries on any correspondence or intercourse with any foreign government or any officer or agent thereof, with intent to influence the measures or conduct of any foreign government, or of any officer or agent thereof, in relation to any disputes or controversies with the United States, or to defeat the measures of the United States, shall be fined under this title, or imprisoned not more than 3 years, or both. Can we get both? Can we get both? And then I don't even care if she was born here. Can we deport her anyway? Like can we just start deporting people who absolutely want to hate America? Jayapal responded to the backlash in a post on X, writing, "Breaking news, members of Congress meet with ambassadors of countries or other countries every day. That's literally our right and responsibility." Breaking news. There's a difference between meeting with ambassadors and trying to subvert United States in placing like embargoes on a communist country, and you saying, "I'm gonna help this communist country." That is absolutely not the same thing, you lying whore. Her remarks came as she sharply criticized U.S. sanctions on Cuba, describing them as economic bombing of the infrastructure. It is illegal. It is against the law. If we really want to play that game, America, the country, could just look at you and be like, "Bitch, I am the law." Like, what is she talking about? This is essentially doing the same thing. It is bombing the infrastructure of Cuba with economic sanctions that essentially ensure that the infrastructure collapses. Well, no, they were doing a pretty good job of ensuring that happening before we even did anything. The controversy has also prompted discussion of the Logan Act, a rarely used federal law that bars unauthorized individuals from negotiating with foreign governments in disputes involving the United States. Good. Fucking charge her under it. I'm sick of nothing happening. Andrew McCarthy, a former federal prosecutor, told Fox News Digital, the statute has never resulted in a conviction and has only been used sparingly in U.S. history. We need stronger men to actually get convictions. There has never been a conviction under it. In fact, there have only been 2 indictments, the last one about 174 years ago, McCarthy said. He added that any potential legal exposure would depend on whether a lawmaker took concrete action that violated U.S. sanctions. There would be no criminal case unless it can be shown that she took some action that violated or aided and abetted a violation of the sanctions. He argued disputes over engagement with foreign governments are more appropriately handled through political accountability rather than criminal law. She should not be serving as a politician of the United States when not only is she prioritizing other nations over the United States, but she's willing to usurp United States decisions in order to give that preferential treatment to non-US countries. What are we talking about? This is not someone who should be a US politician. The Trump administration has previously described the Cuban government as a national security concern due to its ties to adversarial countries and actors, including relationships with Iran and alleged links to groups such as Hezbollah. The Cuban government has also faced long-standing criticism over political repression and restrictions on free speech. Well, that's because communists don't believe in free speech, man. The island's economic conditions have contributed to a surge in migration, with hundreds of thousands of Cubans arriving in the United States in recent years. Once again, I'm going to have to wonder, how big is this surge in comparison to what it was before Obama? Because once again, Obama is the one who ended wet foot, dry foot, where we would accept Cuban refugees fleeing the communist regime as long as they were able to make it to US shorelines. Obama ended that policy and told the Cuban government that any Cubans who set foot on our shores would then be returned to Cuba. What do you think happens when somebody escapes communism and then is immediately sent back to that communist government? What do you possibly think might happen to an individual who has done that? The Cuban government has sent many signals that this is a new moment for the country, Jayapal said in a statement following the trip, adding that U.S. restrictions on fuel amount to cruel collective punishment. She has called for lifting the U.S. embargo and removing Cuba from the state sponsor of terrorism list. What the fuck are you talking about, lady? Why would we remove them from that? What? Well, backing legislation to block potential U.S. military action against the country. It's things like this that make me want to just say, okay, fine, we'll just go in and yoink their dictator too. But I don't want that! I want us to focus on domestic issues! Fox News Digital has reached out to Jayapal's office, the White House, and the State Department for comment. She must be stripped of her citizenship and deported back to India. Thank you! I'm so glad that's the top fucking comment, holy shit! So, End Wokeness tweeted out, Chicago Alderman William Hall wants to see Walgreens face charges for closing over a shoplifting crisis. And here's the video.
Walgreens should be charged with first-degree corporate abandonment. Yes. It should be a crime the way they're treating our elders. Yes. It should be a crime the way they're treating our families.
I feel like the reason that corporate abandonment happens is because shoplifting gets too expensive to keep eating the cost of. And it also puts all of the employees in danger. And then the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire said, the vast majority of African Americans want white people as slaves. Hey, remember that video about India being a superpower where they were bragging about having white people as slaves? Hey, I kind of wonder what was going on with that guy in the super chat that mentioned that anti-human trafficking guy having a slave. You know, that's I wonder. How dare you not let us rob you?
Have you ever wanted a pet, but the responsibility of remembering to feed and water something alive is a horrifying prospect? Get your very own Korsche today. This little guy is too low IQ to understand it's not alive. Do you already own the Conco's My Little Padded Room Magical Girl Kirsche plush? Well, get this companion Korsche to keep her company. Or maybe you just want to commit war crimes with a reliable partner who won't snitch to Interpol about your dastardly doings. Get your Korsche today. The Korsche will continue to love you, no matter what. Except if you try to do it. Do not the Korsche. The Korsche is for loving, eating, and war crimes, not for doing. Buy a Korsche for your Korsche so that they don't get lonely inside your walls. Korsches are valuable employees of Korsche Mart, and if you find a Korsche reverted back to a Kirsche, please call 1-800-KORSCHE now to have her return to her original residence. Korsches are also an endangered species due to severe retardation, overeating, and excessive use by world powers and military conflicts. Please know that owning a Korsche does not give you the right to do it. The feds are listening to your every move. If you or a loved one has been assaulted by a Korsche, contact authorities immediately, as you will not make it. You can buy your very own life-size Korsche or a Korsche for your Korsche starting May 8th at 3 p.m. EST through June 5th at 8 p.m. EST. Get yours now before they escape and are gone forever.
Republican State Senator Travis Holdman, who lost by over 20 points, isn't taking it very well. Revenge and retribution is not a Christian value. All you had to do was listen to your constituents. Sorry, guy. I have traded my cloak and I have bought a sword. Get fucked. You're gonna start listening to what the voters want or you will get nothing, as that is what you deserve.
How do you feel?
Well, I have one lesson for people. Revenge and retribution is not a Christian value, and that's what this was all about. And I'm not bitter about it, it's just a fact. And there's life after serving in the Indiana Senate, and I'm going to find out what it's like. So.
People like him are just unable to understand. The world you lived in is dead. Your children hate you. If you have any, they will put you in an old folks home where you will be tended to by crazy climate people and foreigners who will either beat you or let you die in your own feces. This is the future you've chosen, Boomer, and this is why we have rejected you. A day of reckoning is upon us. Oh my God, I have a sour to say. Isn't it Sodom and Gomorrah might have something to say about it if they weren't all wiped out? Oh my God. Fucking, it's insane. It's insane how he could say some shit like that. Get fucked, retard. Get absolutely fucked. I'm so tired of it. Daily Mail said, Green's hopeful, who is calling for the UK to pay slavery reparations, is a descendant of slave traders. And this lady, Holly Grail, said, by the way, she deleted her account on X when everyone correctly identified who she was, i.e. the direct descendant of Nigerian slavers who the British had to bombard to make them stop. Also, her grandfather is a billionaire, so she should be handling all of her money over to the descendants of the people her ancestors enslaved. Because that's how this works, right? And someone said, and these days her family makes money in African mines, and we all know what those working conditions are and who the largest body of laborers are in those mines. To some degree, they are still involved in the slave trade. And Holly responded, in case you were wondering, this was the post that she made that led to her leaving the platform. And this is Antoinette Fernandez saying, my great-great maternal grandfather was the Oba, the king of Lagos, in 1861, and was forced under threat of military bombardment, aka to avoid a massacre of the people, to cede Lagos over to the British, lest we forget. And she got absolutely fucking massacred by Community Notes. This is misleading by omission. British intervention in Lagos was due to the slave trade, in which the OP's ancestors had been deeply involved. Presenting the cession only as unprovoked British aggression hides that background and distorts the history. So what you're telling me is that these Yakubian white cave beasts descended from their giant water dragons and took over your country of slave masters. That's kind of crazy! Kind of destroys the narrative you've crafted, does it not? Duplicitous cunt? Get wrecked, slaver! We're not going back to those times. Yakub sent us to stop Lagos slavery. Yakub created the cave beasts to end the slave trade. Thank you, Father Yakub. Green's hopeful, who's calling for the UK to pay slavery reparations, is a descendant of slave traders. A Green Party candidate pushing for Britain to pay trillions of pounds in slavery reparations is descended from a Nigerian royal family that traded slaves. You know, all things considered, since the British ended the slave trade where her family was, complicit in it, shouldn't she be paying reparations to the white Britons? Because they risked their lives, in order to stop the slave trade? She should pay them reparations as the slaver, man. Antoinette Fernandez is the reparations officer for the party's Global Majority Greens group, which campaigns for racial and environmental justice. And this whole sentence, this entire thing is just call me gobbledygook. I am so sorry, my UK brethren, and I hope you can take your country back soon. However, she is also the daughter of a billionaire oil baron who is one of Africa's richest men. The local election candidate has campaigned for British taxpayers to pay reparations for the transatlantic slave trade and said that politicians who oppose it show an appalling arrogance. You know what's really funny? You know what's really funny? Her family of black slave traders. Her father is a billionaire oil baron now. He literally built his wealth empire on the backs of trading his fellow black people as human cattle. We watched a video clip months ago of some black dude in the US being like, I found the descendants of the people who owned slaves, like owned my family or whatever. And he's like, I found their descendants and I found their house and I'm gonna roll up one day and they won't even know why. And he went on to make fun of them for being like incredibly redneck and impoverished and like living in a trailer or some shit. And it's just like, hold on, so wait a minute. You're telling me that you want the impoverished people who are descendants of supposed slave owners in the United States to pay reparations with money they don't have because they didn't build a wealth empire on the backs of enslaved people. Meanwhile, this woman's family did in fact build an empire of riches off the backs of slaves, and somehow she's still asking for reparations. Miss Fernandez, who is standing for Zach Polanski's party in London, is the daughter of the Queen Mother of Lagos and is given the title Princess in Nigerian press. Her mother is Abiola Donsumu and her father is Antonio Diende Fernandez, a late business magnate and UN ambassador who is said to have made his fortune in oil, gas, and mining, and has a reported net worth of $8.7 billion when he died in 2015. Through her mother, the Green politician is a descendant of the Obas, kings of Lagos, some of whom historians describe as major slave traders that made lucrative commissions from slave deals. One of Miss Fernandez's ancient relatives personally owned 1,400 slaves, and another even brought back slaves that had been sent to Brazil to build houses in Lagos, according to one historian. What? He's like, all right, you're done being enslaved in Brazil. Come back to Lagos. What the fuck? Brazil mentioned. No, it's not in good context this time. The campaigner's family accrued wealth through the slave trade, which they used to purchase velvet clothes, royal umbrellas, hats, and stylish robes. On Monday, the Conservatives and Reform UK rounded on Miss Fernandez, branding her the ultimate hypocrite for demanding hard-up Britons shell out for reparations. The Green Party said that reporting Miss Fernandez's lineage is racist and a bad faith attempt to undermine the case for reparative justice. Yeah, all they do is fucking lie. All they do is fucking lie and hope that you will be shamed enough that they can continue lying instead of get corrected. Always correct the lies. The liars will never stop lying, but you will make headway on everyone else reading the context. Britain abolished the slave trade in 1807 and then spent millions of pounds, billions in today's money, and thousands of sailors' lives putting an end to the practice worldwide. On Monday, Lila Cunningham, Reform UK London mayoral candidate, called Ms. Fernandez the ultimate hypocrite. Reform councillor said, while Brits are crushed by cost of living crisis, she demands we fork out billions more in slave reparations, even though Britain has already spent tens of billions wiping out the slave trade. In March, the UN voted in favor of former colonial powers paying reparations for slavery, possibly up to 18 trillion according to a UN judge. You know, I think Africa's had it too good for too long. Can Africa start paying the Western nations reparations at this point? You know, we tried to end the slave trade globally. We ended slavery in our countries. So I think Africa owes us reparations for continuing slavery despite us trying to end it. After the vote, Ms. Fernandez said Britain and the US in particular need to acknowledge the inhumane crimes they inflicted on the African people for centuries and the ongoing impact of those crimes on the global south. No. We're the ones who ended it. Go fuck yourself. Ms. Fernandez, who has described her background as privileged and boarded at the Millfield School in Somerset, which costs more than £60,000 a year, ran for the Greens at the 2024 general election and stood to be the party's deputy leader in 2025. She is standing as a councillor for Lea Bridge and Hackney, East London, in the upcoming local elections. Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake said her candidacy fits a pattern for the Green Party, adding the Greens are not a serious political force. They have been captured by hard left activism and student politics. Mrs. Fernandez, was approached for comment. Fucking gender swapped that lady. So considering ancestry is racist when we do it, but not when she does it, is this low IQ thinking or dishonesty or both? It's not low IQ. It's actually, in fact, high IQ. She is a high IQ individual because she knows that by exploiting our principles, she can get us to do what she wants. And look how it's been going for communists for however many decades. Look at the state of your country right now and ask if you think it's low IQ individuals who have transformed the UK into the hellscape that it is. No. No, it is high IQ politicians who continuously lie to you about what they're doing and what they want. Keir Starmer literally came out and said that all of this recent immigration stuff has been a failed experiment. And yet he continues to still do it. So I have never heard of this game before. I've never seen this game. I just suddenly started seeing everyone posting about it last night. What the fuck is this game? What is this? What is this? Listen to that, man! Why does one of them have fucking braces? Why is it still going? This might strike some viewers as harsh, but I feel whoever was responsible for creating this should be hung at dawn in the center city square. Like, what the actual fuck am I saying? 10 out of 10 according to the journalist. What the fuck? What is attendance free or paid viewership? It should be free. Everyone should be free to see what happens to someone who creates this abomination, this affront to God. You will not be allowed in the kingdom. Also, it's braces because it's 90s nostalgia bait made by millennials. I hate my generation. And it's teen women coming of age to be a lesbian. Oh my God, hold on. There was a German commercial that was like, oh, what if homosexuality was the thing that was normal and the heterosexuals got harassed like the gays? And so they had like a lesbian couple walk up and start aggressively harassing this heterosexual couple sitting on a bench. And she kept doing the like sucking dick motion with her mouth. And she's like, why don't you two give us a kiss, eh? That's what you like doing, isn't it, eh? And it's like, what the fuck?
Guck mal da, ein heterosexuelles Paar. Boah, geil. Küsst euch doch mal. Kommt
I'm
schon,
getting out of the way of the
einfach mal
subtitles.
die
I'm
Hefenzungen in den
squishing.
Hals schieben, das macht mich so richtig geil.
I didn't know I was supposed to do that!
Denn? Ihr macht doch hier einen auf ganz öffentlich mit eurem Händchengehalt und eurem Rumgefummel. Da könnt ihr doch auch gleich rummachen, ne? Oder ist das etwa nur eine Phase, Schätzchen? Hm? Probierst du dich nur aus? Ich kann dir helfen. Gib mir 10 Minuten und ich mach dich wieder
Nobody
lesbisch.
does that! That's so bigoted of you! How dare
Ey,
you
geht ihr
not
jetzt
treat the gays
heiraten?
like
Nimmst du seinen
this?
Schwanz in den Mund, wenn ihr verheiratet seid? Darum geht's euch doch die ganze Zeit. Und als nächstes ist der Hund dran, oder was, ihr perversen Schweine?
Well, white women do fuck dogs.
Wisst ihr was?
but, I mean,
Ich komm
she's joined
einfach
in.
mit. Ist doch okay, wenn ich zuschaue, oder? Ich denke schon. Sonst würdet ihr hier nicht so jedem eure Heterosexualität aufs Brot schmieren. Seht uns an, wir sind hetero, wir sind hetero. Schaut her, wie hetero wir sind.
Do these
Weißt du,
people
was mich am
genuinely
meisten
think
an
straight
denen
people do this?
Denen geht's wirklich einfach nur ums Provozieren. Ja.
I think Germany's been in like a collective psychosis. I don't know. I don't know what harms my psyche more, having to admit that the Germans are real or that the British are real, man. Both of them are horrifying. So I saw this first and I was intensely confused. And then it just started popping up everywhere in my feed. This lady, Christina Tasty, I have no idea who she is. This game has made me laugh several times, but it's always because they try to become poignant and it just ends up looking really goofy. And it's making me laugh way too hard. Like, what in the art school is this? You aren't Edith Finch. You know, I bought Edith Finch like 6 or 7 years ago. Like, crazy fucking long. And I haven't played it. First of all, can I ask why the animation is so bad? Like it's not like the FPS. I'm not the only one that sees that, right? Like it feels like it's jankily moving, like it's a CD skipping or something. It's artsy, gaming, Unity. What the fuck? Like it just looks really jarring. Like there's something wrong with the FPS that's aggravating. And also, like, having no idea what this game is about, having no idea about any of the characters or any of the story or anything, I just see what is supposedly the main character being dragged through all of this shit, knocking stuff over, interrupting, you know, like, fucking day workers in the middle of their shifts. And it's like, I know this is supposed to be the main character, but, like, it feels like the person who wrote this has main character syndrome. And it's just like, everyone needs to suffer the consequences of having had to be around me because I am the most important thing in the world and no one else matters. Like, it's really fucking weird.
I know I swore that I'd come home to stay, but it always seemed that foolish dreams.
Like, why would you do this? This guy's just trying to get his fucking minimum wage, man. Oh, now you're gonna fucking take away their balloons? Someone paid for that, you bitch!
But I won't be around to watch it.
Oh, and they even broke the sign? What the fuck, man? What even is this? Supposedly a video game? Supposedly? Rock Solid here said, this game is genuinely the biggest industry plan I've ever seen. Lesbian coming-of-age story that nobody has ever heard of before. Yes! Where the fuck did this come from? All of a sudden getting 10 out of 10 reviews just as Anita Sarkeesian is trending again. Fuck off. And this says, this game will make you feel like a child. It makes me feel like, why is the FPS so fucked? That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah!
All right, so we got shitty storyline. We got narcissistic attitude written in by the writer to the character. We have characters that look androgynous and or suspiciously had facial feminization surgery. And now we have, look, you get to be a child. I feel like I'm connecting some dots here. This looks It does! It looks really fucking, like, the scenery looks nice. But if you look at the people moving, the FPS is so fucked, it, like, ruins it. Shit looks like they put a bunch of PNGs they drug around an Unreal Engine environment and called it a day. Oh my god, apparently the one directing this is tied to Oracle in some capacity. Also, the gameplay looks abysmally dog shit. You'd rather play Anthem. I just like, what the fuck were they doing? Explaining why I personally hate Mixtape in just under 3 minutes of totally uninterrupted gameplay. Spoilers. For the record, Life is Strange, Lost Records et al. Have parts of the game that you can fail at and feel something. Because this game doesn't have a fail state, it makes any deep scenes feel hollow because, well, you've barely invested in your walking 90s tropes you call characters. All flash, no substance, and whenever there's a small character moment, they yeet you on over to the next playable set piece. It's Edith Finch, but for people who look like this, but were born in the 90s. This is not a slate on Edith Finch. I love that game, but it's also not a template for Quirky's 90 game. Oh my god. So supposedly this is 3 minutes of her not touching her controller.
So, in this cutscene, we're just going to... Oh, by the way, we're going to ignore this. I'm not going to be pressing a single thing. I'm just going to be ranting. As you can see. So this is a very pivotal part of the story where you're about to save your friend from their cop dad. Or what little story there is, anyway.
Why do you need to save your friend from their cop father?
I say this, but I don't feel anything. Mostly because there's absolutely, like, virtually no, like, character insight. You've seen some Family Guy cutaway gags of the gang hanging together. But also, I don't need to do anything. I'm not pressing anything. She just keeps running. There's no consequence. She's gonna make it regardless. I should be like, oh, my heart is pumping, but no. In fact,
I also have to say the music is very distracting. And once again, like, it doesn't feel like this is the main character in a video game. It feels like this is somebody who feels like they're the main character in real life and are obnoxious to everyone around them, writing that into the main character of the game.
Activity can make a mid-story better. But this game does not understand that, because it doesn't want to be a game! This is a game. This is how most of the game functions. And not only that, you've got to focus on the fact the background going at 60 frames per second and the character is going at a janky frame rate that makes it look like she's...
Thank you! It's so distracting! And it feels bad to look at. Like, it feels bad. Kind of like Alex Yick. Oh, we're not yicking! No, fuck that game, bro.
Running on 989 MS ping. And she keeps going. Still not pressing anything. She's still going. I'm still not pressing anything. It's just like all these set pieces and all these moments where your input.
It just feels like that summer
nothing.
College kid movie.
I'm supposed to point at this and go, look, it's like Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
It's like Ferris Bueller,
I
guys.
never remember
By
that
the way,
guy's name.
Look at the rubber ring there. Excellent. They really appreciate the fact some complete obsessed with Sony animation. We were forced to play the slushy scene, but we did not need to interact with
What
the
is the
pivotal
slushy
character
scene?
moment. Oh, look, there's going to be a moment here. I'm not going to press anything. Oh, she did a quirky thing, but I didn't do that. The game did that on its own. Almost like this should have been a fucking movie.
She's so mad. I love it.
I should just keep going. This is the game, by the way. There's like
This is not a game.
maybe scenes.
Why
and
are
look
there
at how
people
quirky it is.
on the
They're clapping, and
buses?
There's a bunch of people on the roof. It would be great if the story actually made me care about what was happening. Just in service of nothing.
Why is this so fucking long? What, like, especially if there's no consequence. Why is this sequence? Why is this running thing? It feels like it goes on for 3 times as long as it actually should.
It pisses me off. It really does. It's like this got a 10 out of 10. Oh, this is a really nice kick. I really wish I could have failed that or, punting a wide Vikings in the 1990s. I don't know.
I've really, like, I play a couple of, like, the hallway simulator games, but, like, at least they let you click on things, you know, like, you can click on stuff, you might be able to run even, you know? But, like, what is this? She's completely correct. This is not a fucking video game. This should have been, like, a mini-series or some shit. What are you doing? Blue Supergiant, thank you. Are we sure this is a game and not just a really long music video? Like, bruh. That's confounding. It's like, this is a game for people who do not like video games but want to pretend that they're gamers so that they can go, actually, gaming was always left-wing and progressive.
That's, you know, I'm probably talking on my, I don't know American football, but still, watch it go.
I also don't know American
watch
football.
Watch it go. There. And she's almost there. I wonder if I failed or not. I wonder if by not pressing a single thing, I've failed this whole chapter. Why
are you interrupting the warehouse workers, you dumb bitch?
Flash with no substance. It's all in the sake of just a bunch of collective moments and
oh god,
look,
it gets worse when it zooms
look,
in.
She made it. She made it. I'm so stressed right now.
Jesus fucking Christ. You have Game Pass and you feel like they should pay you for adding this game to your list? Oh no. The exasperation at the end. Yeah, you can feel it, man. Hot damn. Spider-Verse movie ruined animation forever. It made low frame rates cool. Maybe there is a reason to hate Gen Z after all. And the Game Awards tweeted it out, and I was like, oh, this is an industry plant, 10,000%. The Game Awards would not tweet out some random shit-ass indie game if this wasn't an industry plant game. This just confirms it, 100%. And then after I saw this tweet by Emerald Apple that says, it is confirmed Mixtape is a Nepo-backed astroturfed game. It is developed by a small Australian studio, Beethoven and Dinosaur, and funded by Annapurna Interactive. Annapurna Interactive, also known as the company that brought you Night Bitch the movie, and who DEI-ified and fucked up Alan Wake 2. I hate you, Alan Wake 2. I hate you so fucking much. Headed by Megan Ellison, yes, that Ellison family, where her father, Larry Ellison, who is one of the most connected to Israel's elite, donated over $16 million in 2017 alone. Larry's son, David Ellison, Skydance, and Paramount secured nearly $24 billion in equity investments from the Saudi Public Investment Fund, plus others from Qatar and Abu Dhabi. Meanwhile, Larry himself is personally funding portions of the equity commitments in the media deals. This means Annapurna Interactive, with family ties to the Ellison wealth, has incredibly deep pockets that most indies could only dream of. This is why they were able to secure expensive music licenses, massive marketing, and a multi-platform launch. No evidence that Israel or Middle East money touched the game, but the money is in the family and family talk. Critics are eating it up like slop with near universal 9 to 10 of 10 ratings, while the players are skipping it, calling it an overrated walking sim. It's not even a walking sim. Apparently the game just plays itself for you. Annapurna Interactive markets itself as a prestige publisher, which aligns with the high-class artsy vibe that critics love, but the audience doesn't care for. Their only massive commercial success was Stray, the cat game. Meanwhile, pretty much every other game published by Annapurna was a flop or a niche. And this one is proving the same as well, with barely 2,000 people playing the game on Steam. And I would wager at least 90% of those 2,000 are streamers who have bought the game to shit on it for their audience, so their audience doesn't buy it. And then I looked at this image and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. This disgusting thing right here next to Annapurna's symbol looks like that weird androgynous autogynephiliac character in the game. This one right here that like flies around at 10 FPS looks identical to this mystery meat individual right here. Fucking Keck self-insert, imagine! And then apparently they were also sending out, like Emerald said, these weird creator bundles. And I love how this guy, I've never heard of him, Blue Thunder, and he says over 4 million followers across socials, 100 million monthly views. Guy's only got 15.8k followers, so I think he's lying somewhere. I have a feeling there's a little bit of a lie somewhere in here. Who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, who the fuck is this guy? It's like the weird streamers that Campbell's partnered with for some shit, and they had millions of followers, 0 engagement on anything. He's got like decent engagement here. 1.2 million views later, and the miserable maidenless mob still hasn't realized that I wasn't bribed to give Mixtape a high review score because I quite literally didn't review the game. This is still advertisement for a product. The company sent you product. You displayed product. That is what advertisement is, buddy boy. What the fuck? I can't believe he's trying to defend this. It doesn't matter if they didn't pay you. They sent you a free press kit to advertise the game, buddy man. You still have to disclose that. That's still under the FCC guidelines, brother. That's why, like, even if a company gives me, like, a code for the game, like, they give me no press kit, they give me no money, they just give me a code so I get their game for free. I will constantly say throughout the stream how I was given the game for free by the developers. So let's look at his advertisement video. Not an advertisement. He starts the clip playing the game and then goes to get his sponsored items. That's really weird they give you a Game Boy cartridge. This is an indie game, guys. Unboxing video. Yeah, and so it's like, I'm glad it got community noted. This is a blatant advertisement for a product and is not being disclosed as such. Yeah, you were given the press kit. The point was advertising. A Yorch Torch saying, look, dude, I'm the first guy to support making money from video games, but do it by solving problems worth solving. Can't be shilling for a game that's performing like this. The numbers don't lie. And the guy, I would never ever believe a content creator like this again, right? He said, I quite literally didn't say a single solitary word or judgment on the game. I shilled for nothing. I posted a video about the objectively cool and unique package they sent me. Come on, guy. I know you do shorts content, but not everyone you interact with is gonna have subhuman IQ. Come the fuck on. He was playing the game in it. That's called an ad. This guy's full of shit. Yep. He thinks he's being slick. Yep. This explains the high review scores, and he says, didn't review it. No one's saying you particularly reviewed it. They're saying that journalists probably also received some of these press kits, and that increased the score. Box of garbage, and this guy says, find peace. Oh, but you're defending it? First you're not giving judgment on the game, but now you're defending it? Hold on, wait a minute. He's just responding like an ass to pump engagement. Oh, man. Rent's due, brother. A Blue Thunder should buy an Olympian with the way he's dodging all of this. Other review companies 1000% got the same package. Yup. That's kind of... And I can't believe, once again, 1.2 million views later, and the miserable maidenless mob still hasn't realized that I wasn't bribed to give Mixtape a high review score because I quite literally didn't review the game. That was... No one's claiming you gave it a high review score, but you're simultaneously saying that this video passed no judgment on the game, where you're playing the game, showing off your sponsor box, and then defending the game in your comments. So, like, come on, dude. Yeah, whatever, shill. Plays with a CD player. Hey, this guy is rating a game. Get him. Oh my god. So you're promoting a game you haven't even played or reviewed? A good point. A good point. Oh my god.